Hey everybody, welcome to Obscurities and Miniatures. I'm back with more Lost Kingdom miniatures. Today we are going to finally try and tackle the Ezocamatl Knights. So these are the Lost Kingdom's answer to the traditional Seraphon cavalry, but they finally answered the question, what would Seraphon or Lizardmen cavalry look like if they didn't have the world's suckiest looking mounts? These things are impressive. And not only are they impressive, but they're quite big. So I went ahead and took the liberty of building one of them ahead of time just to get a good idea because I was quite curious. So inside the box, upon opening it, you're going to be greeted to stapled bags of parts. As far as I know, and I say this because I haven't built them all yet, obviously, each rider is supposed to go with their mount. Now, I'll correct that comment when I'm done, but it seems to be that way. Why else would they staple them all together? And having built one of these, I can say there was a ridiculous amount of flash that needed to be cleaned off before these things were, glue worthy. There was a lot of work involved, but it's doable. Part of the issue, I think, is that the raptor cavalry monster thingies that they made here just have so many little spikes and stuff that it's so easy for that really thin light flash to get stuck there. So with that in mind, and then they also had traditional regular sized cavalry bases, I'll show off real quick. This is one of my finished models, and you can see it's big. I mean, that's a regular cavalry base. And the old ones, I have one somewhere. I'll grab them for when I have the finished results to show you guys, but it's quite large. I also did a terrible job of building the rider here because it looks like he's bashing his mount on the head with his weapon, but maybe that's how they make them go faster. I don't know. I'll have to fiddle with that. But yeah, they're big. They're really big. Grabbing just our traditional witch hunter friend here so you guys get a good size reference. I mean, that's quite the large model. It's big enough to eat him with. So I'm going to attempt to tackle the rest of these boxes. We'll open this one here just because it's the closest, and I want to give you guys a good look at how the parts are all laid out, so you know what you're getting yourself into. And I say that with the utmost love and respect for my reptilian brethren here. Because if there's one thing High Lord Chamberlain loves, it is reptile models. In the head. And you can see already there's all kinds of flotsam and it looks like claws or something floating around in the bag there with him. So we have the actual head. And this one isn't wearing a skull. Some of them had skulls on. So here's what I was talking about, the flash. You're going to need to do some serious cleanup, and it gets really fun when they have these really thin claws everywhere along with the feathers that are going to need some serious work. Well, there's one of our claws missing. Oh well. We'll see if I can fix it up. Okay. The detail on the castings of these monsters is just really nice. Really deep, really clear, really obvious. So hopefully this guy looks at least like he's got both of his feet actually posed to be on the ground. I'm super worried about this one that I already built. As you can see, he's so big, and I'm worried he's going to start leaning over, like my Blaine model from the original second Kings of War campaign that Protoss sculpted for them. Let's see, here we have a nice feathered headdress for the Ezocamatl rider. Bodies are one main piece, legs are separate, and then the weapons and shield as well. This guy's actually a lot easier to put together than the other one I built. That dude was tough. That guy had a lot of work involved with him. So that's what you can expect. It's not the world's most difficult stuff. I just sometimes worry that, me showing off a finished model is going to be like, oh, why was it so hard? I can't handle it. I don't want that. We don't want that at all. So if you don't mind cleaning resin, you don't mind getting in all those little nooks and crannies, they're really good. And I'll show you in a little bit just how good they are. All right, so check it out. After many hours of fiddling around with these models and then many weeks of them sitting here, on the table or in the garage waiting to get filmed, I have finished the Ezocamatl Knights, and I gotta say, the Knights themselves are pretty cool, but their mounts are fantastically awesome. And in the time since I built these, I've completely forgotten who's supposed to ride what. I honestly have no idea. And I originally, as I said, was really worried about these models on their one-legged stances. I've kind of changed my mind. They do work. They're pretty stable. I mean, they're not like the old Protoss Blaine on the dinosaur that, you know, ended up, he's like touching the ground. I have no idea which model is supposed to ride which. Now, like you saw earlier, they were all bagged together, but I mean, as far as I can tell, they really are compatible with each other, so maybe that's not going to matter. I should have another rider somewhere. I really like the one howling up in the air. But the big question is, how do they compare to the GW Saurus riders? I mean, it's not hard to top those at this point in time. We really need some new Seraphon Lizardmen models. It's just time. So I'm going to use this guy as my token standard one. I think he fits on there pretty well. And I like this pose. So I grabbed a sad little Saurus Knight, and as you can see, so they're on the same bases. Obviously not the same brand, but there's a bit of difference there in size. So hypothetically, you could probably, especially if you have a bunch of Saurus Knights already, you could just buy a box of these 5 and just use them as like old Scar veterans and have them upgraded, or count them as some kind of a hero unit, or put them in as leaders to the rest of the packs. I mean, there's a lot you could do with these guys, considering you get 5 of them and they're all this size. They're just massive dinosaurs. I mean, if you really wanted to get hardcore, you could probably cut off the saddles and file those down, or put something else there and just use them as like giant pack animals. I mean, they're big. They look mean and nasty. They're way more impressive than any of the mounts that GW's done, and that's just sad. For shame, GW. I know these are a product of their times, but they're just kind of blown away by these. I'm just really impressed. And it's funny because I usually hate having to do cavalry, but I'm eagerly awaiting getting these guys painted. Not that I'll do a good job, mind you, but it just would be really cool to have them. I have really no idea what colors I'm going to go with. I know what color my lizardmen are all going to be. They're always that kind of a teal, aquamarine, bluish Mexican alligator lizard blue color I like with a white underbelly, but I have no idea on the mounts. I always used to do my Saurus Knights green. If you guys have any suggestions, let me know. My first thought was just be lame and spray them with a green primer and just highlight them up, or just spray them white and contrast them with some of the contrast green. I don't know. But I'm open to suggestions. If you guys have any, please let me know, because I am eagerly awaiting trying these out. Hopefully in the near future, Lost Empire is going to have their models here for sale to the general public rather than just on pre-order. So if you're interested, keep checking back on their website. They will be available hopefully soon. With that said, this is High Lord Tamberling with Obscurities and Miniatures saying thanks for watching, and time for me to go play with my lizards, because High Lord's got a High Lord. Bye-bye.